All right. It's 1:30 Eastern time. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. We have a special guest I'm going to introduce you to in just a second. Thanks for joining us for navigating buying a new RV. Got some really good tips for you. So while we're getting everybody in here, let's go find the chat area. There is a little area to the right there on your screen where you can chat. That's where you're going to ask your questions as we go throughout. So put in your name and where you're watching from, the city, state. That'd be fun for us to do some shout outs here while we wait for everybody to get in here. And Mycah, thanks buddy for joining us.
Yeah.
Mycah's been helping a lot of people get into RVs, has seen a lot of questions, has answered a lot of questions. So we're going to try to stump him today. That's our goal. So don't be afraid to ask questions as we go throughout. We're going to roll through tons of information, and we want you to be overwhelmed, but in a good way, in a way that you have so much stuff that you can save a lot of money. So greetings to Donna. Hey, thanks for joining us. Wilmington, North Carolina. Jackie, thanks for hanging out with us. Benny's in Oklahoma. And yeah, we're getting all set up here. Nice.
Just got one down to Norman.
Yeah, nice. Waiting for our slides to show up here on the screen. So let's see how that's coming along. All right. Well, Brandon's in Twin Cities. Cool.
Minnesota, right?
Yep. So anyways, today, just so you know, we're going to record this, so you'll have a webinar replay that comes in your email. So don't worry about that. We're going to get that to you about 2 hours afterwards. So you don't have to write down everything. And I've got a handout too. I'll explain here in just a minute. Yeah, so let's see here. I'm trying to get some slides going so we can show you. All right. This one slide is not showing up. So, well, there's the thank you slide. Well, let's see if we can get through these. Okay. So anyways, real quick. For me, I fell in love with RVs back when I was tiny. I mean, not that tiny, but that I was up in British Columbia, Canada. I'll show you a picture in just a second. But my parents took us on a vacation, and my dad actually built this truck topper. It's our first RV, and it was pretty cool, but all out of wood. And I'll show you a picture. But we were going back to Boot Lake, first time back to this lake, and there's only one road in. So a huge tree had fallen over in the way. On the way out there. So we had to stop and wait for the forestry service to get to us. And so what we're camping out that night, built a little lean-to, and I just remember waking up 2 o'clock in the morning or something. And I wake up my mom and I was like, I want to sleep in the RV. So we get to sleep in the RV. Next morning, my brothers are walking around the campsite, and I kid you not, they found this huge, I don't know how big it was, but big bear prints. And so I was glad I was in the RV. So I like to say RVs have a special place in my heart because they saved my life. So that was my start. Oh, okay. Yeah. Here's the picture of it. So that was my first RV trip right there, and good times, good memories. But ever since, I love taking my family out in RVs, and yeah, we just have a blast. So our goal today is to make sure that this doesn't happen for you guys. So you guys are in the yellow helmets. Mycah and I are in the blue helmet, and our goal today is just to guide us through these crazy waters of buying an RV. So we're going to help you navigate, make sure we don't go over any waterfalls or anything like that, but we just get through the rapids real safely, and class 4, class 5 rapids, whatever. No, I just got to take my family out to in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, about 2 weeks ago. We got to go whitewater rafting, so that was fun. Where do you like to camp, Mycah?
I mean, I really like to go down to Tennessee. Been out to Montana a few times. Love to go out there. Actually lived in Michigan for about 4 or 5 years. Upper Peninsula is a great place to go. So if it's outdoors, I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's great. No, I appreciate you guys all taking time to learn all these tips and tricks. very wise, and good to do it now while you're just getting ready to jump in. So we're gonna help you out. Donna, thanks for joining us from Pennsylvania. Robert in Washington, good morning, and Dale out in Georgia. And man, let's get into the good stuff. I mean, we have a lot to explain. So it all comes down to this right here, and I think asking for the out the door price is kind of a good way to start when we talk about hidden fees. I really want these folks and our friends here to know all the little inside stuff that dealerships play tricks with, or get a little extra money here and extra here, and it's kind of frustrating for me to see it happening, and it's happening a lot more now that there's a bigger demand. So I really want Mycah, I really want you to explain some of these here in just a second, so we can avoid those. I mean, that's And in fact, the owners, that's the whole motivation behind these webinars, is the owners of RV Wholesalers, which where Mycah works. The owners came to me and said, "Hey Tim, even though you're not on payroll and on staff here, like, can you just help us with virtual RV shows and webinars? Like, we want to get the word out, because people are just, even if they can't buy from us, obviously we can't sell 600,000 RVs is what they told me. We want to help people. So no matter where they end up buying, we want to just give them the information so they're not taken advantage of." So, and these guys were school teachers for 10 years in high schools before they jumped into RV industry about 24 years ago. So pretty cool. And I love these guys, and we're glad to be able to help. So hidden fees, tell us about this out the door price.
Yes.
Why is that important when you're starting to shop?
Yeah. So right now, if you guys were to ask me like what the out the door price is on something, I'm going to give you what the price is, all the fees included. If I know, if we're supposed to collect state sales tax, I'll include that in there. But make sure that, it's unit price and all the fees that are included in that. Otherwise, you might get hit with, I had a guy the other day up in Michigan. He said, yeah, we went to a dealership up here, and they said, well, on top of that price, he went to sign, it was like $2,300 for this, $1,500 for that, $1,800 for this. So all sorts of different fees just popped up, and he didn't have that true out the door price before had ordered that camper.
So what did he do at that point? Did he just he started shopping?
Called us and walked away from that dealer and ended up buying from us, because I told him what the price was and that it wasn't going to change.
Wasn't going to change. Okay, that's huge, and we're going to talk about that a lot, because in the last year, there's this whole thing of price increases from the factory, and the price. Yeah, so we're going to explain that in a second. That's another. That's a big topic. We got to make sure we don't forget that, because that's huge right now. And then this idea of these hidden fees, that's not very uncommon. Like, we're seeing this all the time. So that's why we're going to explain all these hidden fees, and Mycah's going to do that. And yeah, like the whole apples to apples. That's the problem. You think you're getting a good deal at this location, and then but you forgot to include, you didn't realize that they included or didn't include the transportation fee to get it to the dealership, or like all these different hidden fees. So let's dive into this. I'm going to put these up here for you guys. You can download this free PDF, so you don't have to write all this down. Let me put this in your over in the chat area. Should be a button now. I'm sharing this hidden fees PDF. It's a one-page free PDF. Just download that so you have this. And the number one fee, PDI. Can you explain what PDI is? Because that one, we're seeing this fee a lot, and it's a pretty expensive fee.
Yeah. Yep. So I know, like, other dealers, they'll charge you like $1,800 for a pre-delivery inspection or PDI. Basically, like, we go through I think it's a 180-point inspection that we go through. We verify that everything's right, cleaned up, fixed. Make sure the when you take possession of your product, that everything's the way it needs to be. Some places, they charge you obscene amounts of money for that service, which should be a standard and should not be charged for. Yeah,
let me explain why, because you're right. I don't think it should be charged for either. I mean, we're seeing it $1,400 on up. And it's pretty common. Even one of the big chains does it all the time in that price range, $1,400.
Yep,
$1,500, like you said. And this is why I feel like it shouldn't be charged. I've just been to the factory last week. I go to the factories all the time. They're in Elkhart, Indiana. It's kind of the headquarters or mecca of all RV manufacturing. So I go in with cameras, check quality, all kinds of stuff. So I have a lot of fun doing that. But that's what I've seen is, like, it's almost after they've done their quality checks, it's almost, I like to call it the over the road one final quality control test. And so they pay the dealerships to take care of anything that loosens up or isn't right when it gets to the dealership. So the dealership's already getting money. They get their full rate, which is very generous of the factory. And so why should they charge extra to do this inspection? They need to be doing that anyways. The factory's compensating for this. It's part of the warranty and quality control kind of thing. And yeah, I don't understand how dealerships, why so many dealerships do charge for this. And the problem is, like you said, they wait until you don't know, like that guy you were just talking about. You don't know that this is going to pop up as a fee until the very end. So they kind of skirted it a little bit during the whole get your deposit money process. And then after you've put your deposit down, you're waiting for your RV, comes in, you go to pick it up. It's kind of at that moment that a lot of these hidden fees pop up. It's after you've actually got there. The first thing they do is say, hey, let's do a walkthrough of your RV. We're going to train you how to use it. So they spend an hour or 2 hours, whatever it is, walking through everything, making sure you're comfortable with how to light the pilot and everything's working. And they walk through the whole thing. And some people charge for that too. Yep. Actually, quite sadly. So they do the whole training thing. And then they say, okay, now let's go over to the closing room or, the final paperwork room or desk or whatever. And they meet with someone from the back office that says, here's this document, sign here, sign here. Then towards the end of that process, after you sign about half the papers, then they all of a sudden you see like, oh, and here's your final total, what you'll be financing or paying for. And then you're like, what's this PDI? What's PDI? Oh, you definitely need that. That's the inspection. You wouldn't want to buy an RV from here without that, blah, blah, blah. And right. At that point, what are you going to do? It's like, okay, my kids just fell in love with the RV. We've just waited 4 months for this thing. It's exactly the one that we wanted. All the features and options. And now we have to pay for this. Like, I'm not paying for this. And then they're like, well, we can give you your deposit back. Someone will do that because we've got four other people waiting for this exact RV. I can just call this other guy and he'll come over right now and buy this. So it's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to walk away or are you going to pay the extra $2,000 for the fees or whatever the number is? And yeah, you're kind of stuck at that point. And it's like, well, that's our goal. Let's figure out all these fees, make sure. And I can't believe how many people, Mycah, you've probably seen this too. Like you're talking to people on the phone and you ask them, well, they tell you about another price if they got another RV. And then you ask them, can you send me the paperwork? Well, I put a deposit down, but I don't have any paperwork that says what I'm actually getting. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Basically, they just put the price of the unit on there and tell you, well, this is what it is. And then it's like, I've seen clauses in there where it says this is subject to change. The dealership can null and void this contract at any point without the purchaser's consent or something like that. Just weird things like that. Yeah.
So please guys, don't miss this. Make sure you ask for a sales agreement or ask for this out the door price in writing. That way you can see exactly how much, like you said earlier, taxes, all the hidden fees, which they're not hidden at that point if they're opening them up, which they should, like that's our goal, so that none of these things are surprises when you go to sign. And, and there'll be things like number 5 here, dock and title fee. That's one that's going to be everywhere. Like, and it should be in that, I don't know, what's $300-400 range. If you're seeing it $700-800, the red flag should go up. But you have these kind of fees that, need to be there. So just make sure you ask for it in writing before you put your deposit. Once you put your deposit down and then say, if it changes $1, I get my deposit back. Because what's, like you said, Mycah, there's on the back page of the sales agreements or on these prices, they'll put a little clause that says subject to factory price increases or something like that. This fee or this the sale price may change based on factory price increases. That's what you want to watch out for. That's the big area I wanted to make sure I talked to you about. The problem is, I mean, we all know prices are going up on everything: steel, metal, wood, all this stuff that goes into the creation of an RV. So that's a given. We all know that. It's been happening a lot in the RV industry compared to previous years where, every year, certain times of the year, you'll have a few percentage point increase. Now it's quite a bit of happen on a real regular basis, right? How many? I mean, you probably see them
at least once a month, at least at a minimum.
So the deal is when you buy an RV and you put your deposit down, that's not when the dealership pays the factory for that RV. They don't pay until it comes off the line. So it may say it's 2 months later, it comes off the line, and there was 2 factory price increases, 1 a month, like you were saying, Mycah. There was 2. That's what the dealership has to pay when that comes off the line. So if he told you the price 2 months earlier, now it's 2 price increases more than that when he actually pays for it. So that's what they want to pass on to you, which you think about it, it's like, what other item can you order or buy in the world that you would say, oh yeah, I'll just pay whatever it is when it's time to, when it's here. It's like, I want to know, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I want to know like what that thing's going to cost before I make a decision to buy that thing and commit to it and put it in a contract that I'm going to buy it. So yeah. Yep. So the way around that is, this price isn't, make sure that they say, or make sure you look for that clause and have them cross that out or make an arrangement where, hey, if the price increases from what you promise, I don't know, you guys call it price protection. It's just something that some dealers, the good dealers will offer it as, hey, this is the price it is today. If it comes in 2 months later and it's more, you still pay today's price that we agreed. It's a contract. You're, giving us a deposit, and we're going to keep our word on the price. So price protection, ask for it. Yep. Make sure you get that. A couple of these other fees. Can you talk about transportation fee number 2?
Yeah. So transportation fee, that just gets it from the factory to wherever the dealership is. So like in our case, we've got a $360 transportation fee. That's we tell you that up front. That's part of the out the door price. A lot of dealers, they'll charge $2 to $2.50 per mile just to make an extra dollar.
Yeah. You can kind of calculate what the transportation should be by putting in Elkhart, Indiana, like I was saying. So if you're in Florida, say that's 1,000 miles. Now it should be around a couple $1,000s, maybe a little bit more, depending on the rates that day of the transport services. But every vehicle, every RV has to be transported manually. Like there's no like 10 on a semi kind of thing. So you're going to have to pay someone to get it to your location. But if it's going to a dealership, what they'll do is they'll pay that, say $2,500, $2,000, and then they'll just tack it on the price of that RV when they sell it in Florida. So that's why I'm saying comparing apples to apples, you need to know what that number is so that you, when you're looking at different states, so it's either you have to go pick it up somewhere or you have it shipped in, but there's always going to be a transportation fee. The dealership has to pay for that. The one thing you make sure you do is have them separated out of the invoice so that you don't have to pay sales tax. That's another nice little tip, save you some money. Separate out the price of the transportation from the price of the vehicle so you're not paying sales tax on that. A lot of times dealerships don't really talk about that. They kind of run it all as one, and then they get the little refund from the state or whatever for that. But speaking of sales tax, where do people pay sales tax typically?
So pretty much all 50 states, obviously. So we're required to collect for certain ones. So like Ohio, Michigan, I think South Carolina's $500, California's 6%. I think there's like 4 or 5.
Your state of residence kind of is.
Yeah, wherever your state of residence is. Most of them we don't have to collect for. So I see like Robert over here in the comments, your state tax can be charged when you purchase it. So it can be included in the financing. So what we would do there is we would just roll that in, say he's 10% to make it easy. He's buying a $30,000 trailer. We would roll that in and cut you back a check for $3,000 to cover that 10%. And you just take that to the DMV, and then it's already in the financing and everything else.
Yeah. Also, Robert also asked, when is the best time to buy an RV to get the best price? Well, I know you're kind of biased because you sell RVs, but it's the truth. Like, I've been to the factories, and there's no end to the price increases. Like, it's not going to slow down. Like, and the line is getting so big. I mean, normally all dealerships have hundreds of RVs. I know you guys usually have 500-600 RVs just sitting on your lot that you can just that are stock units. Well, when I was at the factories, they're so far. The stock units are at the back of the line. So anytime you custom order, like say today you guys wanted a Rockwood Mini Light, whatever, you order that today, you put your deposit down, that goes to the front of the line in front of the stock orders, along with, so for all custom orders, or basically, I don't know if that's really a name for it, but you actually jump in front of the stock order. So if a dealership says, hey, I want 1,000 RVs just to have on my lot, they just get to those when they get to anybody that has a real person attached to it, and they kind of go to the front of the line. So, yeah, the longer you wait, and right now all the manufacturers are really backed up. So,
Yep.
You have to wait some time. So the prices are going to go up. The 22s just came out this week. So honestly, right now is the best time. If you want to camp next year, I would be, getting an RV right now. What a lot of people are doing is like, hey, I want to get one more weekend in this summer. Let's try to find something, right now so we can get it. And then that's where they're being taken advantage of, because they're paying, I don't know, what are you seeing? I'm seeing like 10, 15%, $1,000, $10 extra $1,000 at least, depending on how big of an RV we're talking about. If it's a motorhome, I mean, we're seeing $50,000 to $60,000 price differences that people are just jumping in because they need it now. And then it's like, and what my family just did when we went to Smoky Mountains, we just rented this cabin resort kind of thing. It had all the amenities, putt-putt, zip lines, everything right there. And we got the whitewater rafting. So we had all the camping fun, not as cool as if we had our own RV like we would normally. But for this summer, we weren't able to take our RV down there. So it was awesome. It's like for 1 week or, for a couple more weeks of the summer that we have left, you can live with it to get the right fit and and to get a good price. So you're not upside down later when you go to sell it or anything like that. So
Yeah.
It's worth the wait. I would definitely say, Robert, it's not going to, in the next couple of years, that's not going to change, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, like right now, you see a variation of lead times to get a camper. So, I mean, we're seeing, some manufacturers are telling us it's going to be 14 weeks to get a trailer. Other manufacturers are telling us, look, it's going to be about 20 to 24 weeks. So, there might be delays in that time frame too, where, and if you look 6 months in advance from now, well, you're in February, beginning of February, and you're about a month out from camping in some places.
Yep. So yeah. So you guys are wise, jumping in, figuring it all out right now. Good time. So the other big thing is, I don't know, we'll see how many people have already had an RV and are thinking about selling their RV and buying a new one, or the big question is, should I buy used? I don't want to get a lemon. How do you navigate that? So I'm going to talk real quickly about used versus new. In fact, when I was camping at Jellystone with some friends, it was just this past October actually, and we had 2 RVs there that I brought that were brand new, and I brought one, two from RV Wholesalers. and brand new RVs. Our friend pulled in, Chris and Christy. They had a travel trailer that was it was 7 years old. They bought it 3 years ago, the 3 years prior. But they fell in love with the one Wildwood that I had there, and same exact floor plan, fit their family perfect. They're like, "Oh man, like we need this," and so I was just asking, like, "So how much did you pay for yours?" And at that point, it was they had paid $15,000 or 16. They had paid $16,000 for theirs. They said they bought it 4 years old, and they bought it 3 years prior. Paid 15 or 16,000, and they asked me, like, how much is this brand new Wilder? And at that point, that one was 15,500. And I felt bad telling them because it had more bells and whistles. It had, like, you know, the new everything, and they paid more for their used one. And I shouldn't laugh about it, but you got to really.
It happens often.
Yeah, the used prices are going up so much. In fact, I was just videotaping a couple that came down from the state of Washington, and she was telling me, it's like, oh yeah, we just sold our 5-year-old Rockwood. We beat the snot out of it up in Alaska. Our daughter's up there over all those rough roads, and we still sold it for more than we paid for it 5 years later.
Well, so, I just had a lady from South Carolina. They almost bought a 2020 motorhome for $96,000. Yeah, had 12,000 miles on it. Same exact model they were looking at with us. Yeah, and brand new 2022, 2 years old. 2 years newer. We were going to, you know, they're probably going to order this unit. They're going to wait a little bit, but they were out the door at like $84,000. So we were saving them $12,000 on a brand new unit. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's why the used market right now is crazy. That's why to get the most for your trade, and what would you say? Just should you bring it into you and trade it in, or should you just sell it outright? Like, what do you recommend for these guys?
Right now, with what we're seeing, what people could get for them, I would just sell it on like a Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, RV Trader. There's so many different options out there. I mean, you're going to get way more money for it over on those places. Okay, no, that's good advice. Yeah, so if you do the RV Trader, I mean, you just have to get someone to help you just shoot a bunch of pictures and put them up. And we don't even have to have that many, but people will come from multiple states, and RV Trader, you pay a little bit for that, but it's a really good national marketed publication online. So yeah. And if people, if they have, they want to try to figure out how much their RV is worth, could you hook them up with, I know you've got that big book in there that comes every month with all the latest prices and stuff. What is it? NADA guides. NADA guides. Yeah. Let me see if I have, so here's Mycah's contact information. If you have, you're thinking about selling your used one, Mycah Grandstaff, mgrandstaff at rvwholesalers.com. Shoot him an email, and he can get you information on that. Or if you have any other questions, we won't be able to get to everybody's questions today, but that's your contact information. I'll put it up again later and also, but so used, definitely sell it on your own. You'll get a lot of response right now. People coming from all over the place for these things. Yeah. So, good deal. Thanks for thinking about that. Real quick, if you're new to RVing, I always like to explain, when I first started, I thought RV meant like motorhome. So RVs, when we say RV, we're talking about the whole class of everything from motorhomes to travel trailers, campers, you know, like all that. That's what we call RVs. So that's what we're calling like the whole thing. So inside there, you've got park models, which park models are trailers that you only want to take once or twice a year someplace and just let them set. You know, it's like a destination trailer. You just park it, and that's why they call them park models. So, but you get some extra space. And then you've got fifth wheels, which takes, you know, special hitch on the back of the truck, but it's it's a real stable way to pull a trailer. And then you've got your toy haulers, which allows you to put little toys in there from 4-wheelers to whatever, motorcycle, take them camping with you. It also makes a nice little back porch. So kind of got all those varieties. And you've got your motorhomes, class A, Bs, and Cs, based on the size and type there. So yeah, so that's kind of RVs in a nutshell. And then really the only other decision you have to make if you're going with a trailer is how much does it tow?
So we put together a little thing called the towingcalculator.org. I'll type that in here, towingcalculator.org, and you can calculate your capacity of your vehicle. So if you haven't bought a truck, this is a good way to figure out what kind of tow vehicle you want based on how big of a trailer you want, or vice versa. If you already have a truck, you can figure out how big of a trailer you can have. So just don't forget to add in some extra pounds for all your gear and stuff. Some people forget to do that when they're calculating. So don't get too close to the line. So that's one thing you have to figure out. Another thing you want to figure out is your floor plan. Like, to be honest, when I've been at the factories, 70% of every RV comes from one factory. It's called, they make all the parts basically. So the guys at Lippert, they manufacture the chassis, the appliances, just about 70% of everything that goes into any RV. So no matter what make and brand, whether it's Forest River or Thor, those are kind of the big categories. And then you've got Winnebagos and all the brands underneath those that you're familiar with. They're a lot of them are this, the exact same thing. Some of them come out of the same factory with different labels on them. So it's more important that you figure out what floor plan works for you.
Yeah.
Right? Do you want the kitchen in the front? Do you want beds? Do you want bunk beds? Do you need for the kids? So just figure out those basic things. And then the next thing you want to figure out is what type of construction do you want? So there's two types of construction. I'll probably show you a picture here a little bit later. But all you have to do is figure out, do you want aluminum siding, basically with typical house construction where it's 2x4s and insulation and aluminum siding that you can replace if a piece gets damaged, different things. It's a little easier to do that. The other option is a little more expensive, but a little bit more durable long-term, if depending on how you're going to use it, is it's basically fiberglass on the outside. So it's smooth fiberglass. And then it's all laminated together. You've got the structures all aluminum, welded aluminum. So instead of 2x4s, you have aluminum square tubing. And then you have styrofoam instead of insulation, bat board, like bat insulation. You have a styrofoam, and it's all compressed together with the inside wall too. So it makes a real tight package, and it just holds together real nice and tight. So both are good. Both have pros and cons. So to kind of figure out what your budget is and what your need is. But those are kind of the big overall, like figure out this stuff first.
Yeah.
Any other things you want to add to that?
No, I get a lot of questions there all the time. It's just, well, we like the Salems. Well, Wildwood's the same thing. Flagstaff and Rockwood, they're the same thing. So yeah, just find the right floor plan. Make a list out of kind of what your priorities are, and then that helps us find something for you. So if you have a list of 10 items that you guys are looking for, outside kitchen, front bedroom, king bed, 2 slide outs, things like that. At that point, then it makes our job a lot easier to help you find something that, you guys are going to love. So
yeah, no, that's good. This slide, I had 2, sometimes when people are looking at used, these are 2 private inspection companies, nrbia.org and lemonsquad.com. I'll send that in the email I send you with the replay. So if you don't have time to write this down, those 2 are just independent people that can inspect for, $300-400. They'll do a really tight inspection on any RV, new or used. So just a little helpful tip there. Let's see. Understanding terms in RV financing. That's a little different than cars. So why don't you tell us what this big dealer finance secret is? I know, man, I had no idea this was happening. And I'm excited to help our friends here because this will save them a lot of money. Like this alone will make it worth your time spending with Mycah and I. Mycah, tell us what happens behind the scenes, and then we'll dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, so basically what happens is, like, if you go to any bank, they're gonna get you financed, whatever. If you go to a dealership and then you go through their financing, car dealership, boat, whatever.
Yeah, so not just RVs.
Right. Anything. If you finance it through a store, that store is actually going to get a kickback from the bank itself. So for instance, like US Bank might say, well, thank you for bringing, Robert or Sean to us as a customer.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you a little bit of money back in return.
Yeah. So it's not illegal. I mean, it's a commission, like
right. Yeah. Yep.
Sometimes they call it dealer reserve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dealer reserve.
Yep. They give that to us. Well, any place is pretty much going to say, so that's just more profit for us. Yeah. Customers don't know about it, so they don't even know we're making money on it. Well, we actually give that back to our customers in the form of a discount, save them anywhere from $2,000 up to $10,000, depending on what unit you're looking at. So
this is crazy. So, like, I don't know how many of you guys knew this, but that bank is paying them, what did you say, $2,000 to $10,000. So if you had a $100,000 motorhome, that bank is paying the dealership
$6,000,
$10,000, like in this dealer reserve money that comes back as a thank you for signing this person up for at least 12 months, but at least, for some type of longer a loan. So for you writing that, we're going to give you this. So that's a lot of money. So this is awesome. Like, you guys can use this even before you buy your RV. If you're buying a motorcycle or whatever, you can use this anywhere. And you just kind of hold this card to the end. It's like, well, tell me about financing. What can you do for me if I finance with you? And then you ask the question, so how much of that dealer reserve are you going to give back to me in a form of a discount or off my price here? So I know, and you can just, be honest with them. Like, I know you're getting the bank, if I do take a loan through through you and the bank there, that they're going to be giving money back to you. So how much of that are you able to give to me in the form of a discount? And just see what they say. And a lot of times you may have to ask for the sales manager or the F&I guy or the finance guy, because honestly, like, some of the sales guys don't even know that all this money comes back on the back end. So don't be afraid to ask for it. It's pretty cool. I know. Well, like what you were saying, Mycah, you give it to the customer as what do you call it?
A discount.
Just a discount. Okay. Yeah. So that all came about when the owners, Mike and Dave, 20 some years ago, first time they wrote paper through a bank like that, they got a check back. They didn't even know that this check was coming. Like, it had never been talked about with the banks before. All of a sudden they get a check. They're like, what? What's this for? Like, we built our profit into the price of the RV. We took care of our expenses and paid our staff, and that's all figured out. And then all of a sudden this check came in, and that's kind of when they birthed this whole idea. Like, hey, let's just give a finance discount, or let's just give it back to them. So, but if you're like a lot of people that's have been saving a long time, this is a retirement thing, maybe sold a house, cash, want to pay cash for an RV. We get this question quite a bit. It's like, how do, so I don't get that discount, but is there a way to do that ethically and legally? And basically the way the contract's written with the bank, it's for 12 months, right, Mycah?
Yes.
Yep. I mean, it could vary, but yeah, it's usually a 12-month agreement that as long as you keep this loan with us for 12 months, then the dealership gets this reserve money.
Yep.
So in this case, what you could do, say it's a $100,000 RV, and say your payments are $500, just to make it easy, $500 a month. So the very first payment, you're going to pay, let's see, 11%. You're going to pay $94,500 on your very first payment. So it's almost paid off. And then all you're doing is keeping the next 11 minimum payments, $500 worth of payments. And so it's simple interest. So you're only paying interest each month on what's left over. So you may throw away, $150 on interest.
Yep.
But in return, you gain $6,000 to $10,000 in dealer reserve money that was shared with you from the dealership. So right. It's worth it. And at the end of that point, you can, if you didn't want to pay cash, you could always do a similar kind of thing, switch it to a different financing arrangement that you personally have, or somebody lends you money, or credit union, whatever. But yeah, you can do that as long as you hold it open 12 months. So it's worth the effort. I know a lot of people don't like to be in debt, but to make an extra $7,000, you can put up with a couple of things for 12
for a year. Yeah.
Few payments. So pretty cool. Brandon asked, I'm working with guys, got to get going. We're going to send you a copy via email. So take care, Brandon. So that's a big dealer finance secret. That alone is going to save you guys a lot of money. So I'm excited. Thanks for sharing that. And RV loans are usually longer term than auto loans. So they may be 10, 20 years because it's more of a luxury item.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it's all based on tiers. So, like the shortest loan that you can have is $10,000. Yeah.
Okay.
And typically that's going to be a 10-year. So anything from like $10,000 to $14,999 is going to be a 10-year. 12 years is going to be $15,000 to $24,999. And then 15-year, which is where a lot of people like to be, because a lot of travel trailers are right around the $25,000 mark anymore. So $25,000 to $49,999. You're going to be looking at a 15-year. Anything above $50,000 is actually a 20-year loan on that.
And so it's nice that you can get lower rates if you go out longer, but then just pay them off. So even if you were planning to do a 10-year, get a 20-year, pay it off in 10 years, you're going to be way further ahead. And actually your interest rate will be real comparable,
right. Yeah.
Like compared to what you would typically see. So don't get scared when they say, 6% interest rate or whatever, but it's so long that you can, it's with the simple interest, you can pay it off in half the time and cut your interest rate in half. So,
yeah. Well, like I had a guy the other day that his travel trailer was going to be like 49,000 something, 48,000, something like that. And he was planning on financing it for 1 year to save the money. I told him, I was like, look, add on a couple extras that you guys didn't think you wanted because you didn't want to spend the extra money on it. I'm going to get you above that $50,000 mark, push you into a 20-year loan. I think it saved them like $80 a month on their payments, which, $80 over a period of 12 months, you factor in the interest, or saving a little bit more money there, and helps them out a little bit.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, thanks, Diana, for joining in. We'll send an email about 2 hours after with the replay, and so you can catch up. Checking out service and warranties is kind of the fifth area you want to really check into. We're going to talk about service contracts because that's kind of a big deal. But being able to get service, that's I always wonder, okay, so you guys are based out of Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, northwest of there, maybe 45 minutes. McPhee, Ohio. But so you guys are based out of there, but even though you have a couple of dealerships in Texas and other parts of Ohio, how do you? I know you sell more RVs around in other states than you do in Ohio.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've even sold to Alaska, right? And Hawaii.
Yeah. Yep.
Have you personally sold anything out of the country?
No. Nope.
Mostly in the States. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. So, but the big question is, how do you get service? Okay. So, I know for me, I live in Cleveland, Ohio, but when I go camping, like I was just saying, I was in Tennessee or Michigan, I'm never camping. So if I buy say I go to my local Cleveland guy and I buy an RV, how do I, how do I get service when I'm camping in down in Tennessee, Gatlinburg, and my RV breaks down? It's not going to break down in my driveway, I guess is what I'm thinking. So it's probably going to happen when I'm in Nashville. And so I was like, okay, so what's the purpose of me buying from my local guy if he can't take care of me when I'm in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, or somewhere halfway in between? So
right.
I know you guys have figured this out because early on, back at I think it's been 21 and a half years when they first put the RV wholesalers Durnell brothers put their first RV on eBay. They had eBay Motors back then.
Yeah.
And they were the first people to put an RV on there for sale. And some guy came from Iowa, and they had to answer this question, like, how are you going to take care of this guy?
Right.
And, so fast forward 21 years, tell us what they came up with, because I think it's pretty cool. And I want to make sure that no matter where you buy your RV, that you ask about service, because this is important. So tell us how you guys would take care of me. If I'm in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, my RV breaks, what do I do?
Yeah. So if you're in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, or I think Dale was from Georgia or whatever, basically what you do is you give us a call, get you up to our service and warranty department, and you give them your zip code or your location and what's going on with you. And we reach out to the local service centers near you. So those could be other dealers. They could be small mom and pop shops, handymen that are, certified and registered to work on RVs.
Yeah. So you guys have collected this whole 2,900 different vetted people, like you were just saying, that are at your service. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Trust.
Yeah. So you just give us a call, and then, you get it taken care of and get you camping again.
Cool. So Diana was asked, I'm paying cash. Would I have any incentives for doing so? You jumped in just after we talked a little bit about this, but let me explain it one more time. So paying cash is not as advantageous to the dealership, because they're not getting money from the bank. So the bank is giving the dealership a lot of money called a dealer reserve. So that money you wouldn't be able to, the dealership's not making more money when you finance. So they can't really, cash really doesn't help them at all. So they can't really offer any incentives for cash. It's actually the opposite, which doesn't make sense. You think cash is king, like, hey, if I pay cash, well, that only if they weren't legally reporting, putting money under the table or something. That's the only way cash is advantageous, which you don't see that happening in RV dealerships that I know of or I've heard of. But so I think, so your best bet is just to do it short term, pay it all off on your very first payment, and then only have a few payments where you throw away just a little bit of interest, but you get thousands of dollars back as part of that from the bank. So Mycah can explain some more too. And but yeah, let's talk about extended service contracts as we wrap up here, because I'm one of those guys that my dad taught me. Like, I remember the first time, I think, going through, I don't know if it was Walmart, it wasn't Walmart back then, but Kmart or something. And my dad said, Tim, don't waste your money on these extended service things. They're just trying to get your money. It's like $10 extra for this little electronic game thing or whatever it was back then.
Right.
And so I learned, don't waste your money on it. Now that I've been camping and I've tow these campers across these bumpy roads and stuff, and I was like, dang, like, I can't just go to Lowe's and buy a new refrigerator. These things are running on propane and electric and solar, and these things are thousands of dollars. Like, there's no way you can't just go get one locally. So it's like, man, this is gonna be expensive to fix this thing. So that's when I realized it really does make sense if you can budget, I don't know, 8 to 10% for a warranty that covers you for an extra 5 years or whatever it is. You can, they're very tailored to you and your needs and how you plan to use your RV. But definitely something to consider. But I wanted to make sure that if you do consider an extended service contract, that you realize the difference between them, because they all are pretty similar in price, but there's a world of difference between different types of them. And I'm not talking brands, I'm talking the actual type. And so I wanted to kind of step through that real quick. So there's two types. There's stated coverage. So write this down, stated coverage. A lot of your Good Sam warranties, different things like that are typically this type. But stated coverage, basically it's a contract that whatever it states on there, these items are covered. So if it lists the refrigerator, the refrigerator is covered. If it lists the whatever, anything it lists here, that's covered. So it states what's covered. So it's called stated coverage. And the problem with this one is there's a lot of little loopholes where they don't have to cover things because the fridge, yes, is covered, but if a power inverter, which isn't covered, it's not on the list. If something that's not on the list damages something that is on the list, like inverter goes bad, takes out the refrigerator, now the fridge isn't covered because the inverter wasn't covered and it's the one that can cause damage. So, so stated gives you some coverage, but not the best coverage. The best coverage is kind of the opposite. It's called exclusionary. So kind of flip this upside down, and anything on this list is basically an exclusion. So the whole trailer, every single thing on that trailer is covered, excluding these items. So on this list, you would see things like brake pads, like common wear and tear stuff that you would expect that you have to pay for. Like they're not going to pay, they don't know how you're going to drive and you're going to be on the brake all the time and you're going to wear your brake pads out in 6 months or whatever it is, first year. So they're not going to, that's going to be excluded. So there's a short list of things that are excluded on exclusionary coverage. But this is the one, if you can do this one, it's the one that pays bills. And bottom line, when something happens, and it's not really when it happened, it's definitely going to happen at some point. If you have a RV for 5 to 10 years, there's going to be something that's going to go. So this one is the one that pays the bills, and it's not the one that you pay all this money and then it doesn't cover it when it happens. So ask for exclusionary. There's different brands. Just do your homework on. They have ratings just like insurance companies, A+ ratings. What's the one that you guys use a lot? Protective,
yeah.
That's one that a lot of dealerships carry. It's a really good one. Another one to really watch out for. Gosh, I heard about this one. It's called Warranty Forever Warranty, or Warranty for Life. Yeah. They have different names for it. That one you need to run from. Let me tell you.
That's a fun game to play.
Yeah. So I'm at a big RV convention only for dealers. So they don't let the public in. And I'm walking around with some of the guys from your place. And some guy comes running up to me when I walk past this Warranty Forever booth. He's like, "Hey, you guys should consider this for your dealership." So I just listened and I didn't say anything. And so he went on to explain to me, and this was a few years ago, but he said, the nice thing about this whole thing, you're going to make an extra $900 per year per customer. That's how the program works. That's when my little red BS detectors went up. But no, and he went on to explain, it's like, okay, so here's what happens. Every year they have to come in for an inspection. It's mandatory, or the warranty is null and void. So if they don't come in by the exact date every year, then the whole thing's void. And when they come in, then they have to have these, preventative maintenance things done, roof sealed, this and this. And he said that on average, you're going to make at least $900 per customer because of all the little stuff that you find and that you have to do each year. So anyways, let that be a lesson to you. Run from that one. And the crazy thing, some of those dealers even they'll give you that with the camper, warranty for life, and we'll sell you this other warranty. Like, why are you selling me something else if this is the warranty that's going to cover me for life? So
it'll appear cheaper up front. So for instance, on a $30,000 trailer, something that we offer, it might be $3,000 for our warranty.
Yeah.
And from like a warranty forever, they might say, well, this warranty is only $1,100. But what they don't tell you is every time you go in, you're paying $500 to $800 on your yearly checkups. And so that adds up quite a bit. And then not to mention, it's not an exclusionary coverage. So they're going to find every way to not pay out that warranty claim.
And then a lot of these, I don't know if you've looked at service departments, but when you go that route, then these service departments are backed up 12 weeks easy. I mean, it is just a big backlog. So good luck getting in by the time that you have to get in, which is kind of crazy. But okay, Robert had a good question. How is sway prevention and weight distribution equipment fitted to my truck when I purchase and have a trailer delivered? So that's a good question. So a lot of people, they get their trailers delivered to their homes or storage units, campgrounds, wherever across the nation. It's very common. Some people drive out to RV wholesalers, or you go to a local dealer and you pick it up. So how do you get your truck?
Yes. So that's going to be all dependent upon the weight of the travel trailer. So I'm guessing you're talking about a tow behind trailer.
Yeah.
But basically, we offer a few different hitches. So like a 600, 6,000 pound, 1,000, 10,000 pound, 1,200, 12,000, and a 1,400, 14,000 pound.
And there's two really good brands. There's Equalizer
and Blue Ox.
Yeah. So those are the two best in the industry that we've seen. It's a weight distribution. It keeps sway from happening. So you're going to want that. Robert said 10,000 pounds.
Yep.
So how would he go? Where would he go to?
So if you show it up to our dealership and you're going to pick up your trailer, basically how it would work is you would go through your walkthrough, and while you're doing your walkthrough, we already have the brackets mounted on the tongue of the trailer. You guys do your walkthrough while other guys are out adjusting the height to make sure your truck sits straight with the trailer. That way it's not putting the trailer too far back or leaning it too far forward. And they adjust the height of that, because usually it's got like a 3-inch drop or whatever that you can have. But we adjust that, and then if you need to adjust it in the future, it's real simple. You just pull out a couple pins and readjust it down, whatnot. Pretty quick, pretty simple. Yeah.
And then if you go to Equalizer or Blue Ox, if you contact them or look in their sites, you can find local people that will put that on your vehicle. Like if you need help with that side of it too, and if you're going to deliver it. So
3,000 miles. Okay, so in that case, Robert, we could ship you our weight distribution hitch, our Equalizer hitch, ship that out to you. And if you can do it yourself, great. If not, typically another dealer, another service center, they would be able to take care of that for you.
Yeah, and you guys could use your nationwide service network to find someone, so they can hook you up with that and even set up an appointment for you. So
yeah,
no worries. Cool. Good questions, man. This is good. Here's a picture of those two construction types: wood, batten, aluminum siding versus the laminated construction. So those are the two types. Here's Mycah's contact information. As we're wrapping up here, I just wanted to say thanks, Mycah, for jumping in here and taking time. I know you've been busy today, so this is Mycah's contact information. Feel free to reach out to him. A cool little thing that I can do, since you guys took the time today to hang out with us, take a picture of this screen here with Mycah's contact information, or a screen capture or screenshot, and email it to Mycah. The first two people to do that are serious about buying an RV the next day or two, he's going to be able to give the first two people a $500 discount if they order an RV on delivery. So $500 off delivery. So if say Robert's out in California or wherever he is, you can so if you take a picture, get it to him in an email, and he'll be able to give the first two people a $500 delivery discount, which is pretty cool. So it's just a way of saying thanks for hanging out with us. We're glad to have you guys. Good questions.
Washington. Okay.
Yeah. Or Washington. Sorry. I didn't mean to put you in California. My bad. Who would want
we got a lot of service centers out in Washington. We do a lot of business out there. Actually just sold one out to Kashmir, Washington. I don't know how familiar you are with Kashmir, Washington. Sold one out there. Bettingham or something like that. Sold one out there too. So we got nationwide service network. If you have a mobile service nearby, then they would certainly be able to come out to you. Yeah.
There's a couple more questions. We're gonna wrap up, but Benny and Sean were asking about talking about airbags and different things, way to hop up the truck's suspension. So if we don't get to these, reach out to Mycah via email, and then we've got some trailer experts and stuff that Mycah works with that, if he can't answer it, he can find the answer. So Very cool. When you guys are saying goodbye or thank you, whatever, in the chat, type in kind of your dreams. So this is mine, like here, this Mount Rushmore. I have not taken my family out here yet, but my goal is to go out here soon and see this place. But tell me where you guys want to go camping or what you want to see. I'm kind of curious what I like to see, like what people want to do at the RVs. So, Mycah, what's on your bucket list for your next trip?
Well, I know we were just out in Arizona. My wife and I, we like to hike. So I think actually one of our next stops is actually probably going to be Washington to hike some mountains out there. So that might be one of the next stops. That or Oregon, one of the two.
Yeah, I want to get back to British Columbia too. Since I was born up there, and I was like 5 when we left, so I need to get back there and see that. Sean wants to go out to the ocean, of course. Robert, on the beach. Yeah, I'm with you, Robert, man. Do it. But cool. Been fun, guys. Thanks for hanging out and good questions. We'll send that via email, the link. So if you want to replay any of it, check out our YouTube channel. RV Wholesalers has one where you can just, go to YouTube, type in RV Wholesalers, and you can see all kinds of educational videos. We do a show every month, end of the month. We have virtualrvshow.com. I put on a show, produce it. We bring in a lot of entertainment. We make it fun. Go through probably 25, 30 different trailers, ask questions while we're walking through these trailers. Good stuff. So, and Benny's going to retire and go visit family and take the dogs and all kinds of fun stuff. This is awesome. All right. Take care, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, Mycah.
Not a problem.